I'm nervous to tell this story, but I really think it's time. I have gotten to the point in my training for the ultra marathon where I am out by myself, time on feet, for hours at a time. And I had 3 hours this morning. Last week I had 2 hours and 45 minutes. And while I'm out there, I have nothing to do but think, right? And I think about, what I want to tell you guys, and I think about all kinds of things when I'm out there, but the thought that keeps coming up in my mind is I need to talk about weight. It's something I've avoided talking about for a really long time, but I was looking at this doctor that I follow on Instagram the other day, and he said strong is better than skinny. And then he went on to tell why that is the case. And I believe that so much. But it hasn't always been that easy for me to accept. When I was 18, I joined the Marine Corps. And I always was, from the time I went and saw the recruiters, I was always like 5 pounds too heavy. And I'm 5'11", I'm big, tall, muscular. And so that was going to be a problem because they have height and weight standards. I mean, you have to weigh this much, a chart. Like, this is how much your height is, this is how much the max amount of weight you can weigh. And my max was 173 pounds. And my body didn't want to be 173 pounds ever. And so they would come and they would pick me up and we would run. And then they told me to take X-Lax and water pills to lose that 5 pounds, which worked. I eventually lost enough weight to go to the recruiting station and go to boot camp. So when I got to the recruiting station, the first thing they do pretty much is they plop you on the scale. And apparently I'd had coffee or water or something that morning before I got there, and I was over 173 pounds. Well, they were not going to let me get on the bus or the plane. We had a bus to get the plane to go to boot camp if I couldn't weigh 173 pounds. So I spent that whole day going to the bathroom, going to the bathroom, going to the bathroom, walking around, going to the bathroom, so that I could make weight, which I did. And they put me on the bus, and we got to the airport, and we flew to Parris Island, South Carolina. We got there a week early. They had us on the wrong schedule. So like the 6 of us from Chicago, we got there on the wrong day. And they put us in the regular rooms where people who live there all the time, who are stationed there, live. And we learned how to march, and we learned how to do all the things. We sewed our name tags. We got all our uniforms, sewed our name tags in our uniforms. And then we ate. We ate. And I ate because that chow hall at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Women Recruit Training Depot, was known for being good, and it was good chow. So by the time our rest of our platoon got there, we'd been there a week, and we'd been eating good chow, and yes, we'd been marching and some things, but mostly we were in those rooms just killing time for waiting for everybody to get there. So then eventually they weighed us. And of course, my body weight was up again to it wanted to be 181 pounds so bad, and it just, all of a sudden, private, you're on weight control. So which meant that I had to choose special foods in the chow line and get to eat all the good stuff. For whatever reason, I remember lemon Jello being an okay thing to eat. Ew. But I would then have to show my tray to my my drill instructor to have her approve what I was going to put in my mouth. And this went on, and eventually, I graduated boot camp. I wasn't overweight. All the marching, all the PT that we did while we were there, I managed to keep it off, plus them looking at everything I put in my mouth. Then I got into, I'm not going to go deep piece by piece, because basically, ultimately, I spent my entire Marine Corps career on weight control. or just getting off weight control because I finally did enough to get it off for the weigh-in, which we typically knew when the weigh-in was going to be. And my default was to go back to the diet or the X-Lax and the water pills because it removes all the fluid from your body. When I was at my training command after I graduated boot camp, David and I met each other, and we were getting ready to go back to Illinois to get married. And I was once again 181 pounds. And they told me, if you don't weigh 173 pounds, you cannot leave to get married. I mean, got like hundreds of people, a church and a restaurant and all the food, and and you're not going to go. That's what they told me. So this was all, if you can imagine, was very stressful. It was always stressful. The thing is that I never looked bad in my uniform. I always scored a first class PFT. I was meritoriously promoted to PFC, Lance Corporal, and Corporal. And then I was promoted early to Sergeant. So I got letters of commendation and all the things, all the good things. I have just boxes full of all the good things I did in the Marine Corps. Meanwhile, over here, like, you're too big, you're too heavy. I believe that now the weight limit has been adjusted and it's 186, I think, for my height. And that would have made my life completely doable, back then. But it was so stressful. And even though I loved what I did and I loved the Marine Corps, I when I got pregnant the second time, I chose to be discharged with an honorable discharge because I couldn't stand the stress of that anymore. But in the meantime, I had developed an eating disorder. I had, they didn't, Karen Carpenter had just died from anorexia. So it was like really, really new and nobody really knew what to do with me. They diagnosed me with bulimia because, go big or go home. I couldn't just have bulimia or anorexia. I did it all. I did it both. Go big. And I struggled with that for a really, really long time. I feel like I've mostly gotten past it. Back a bunch of years ago when my girlfriend got married and I was the glamazon of honor at her wedding, we were at the rehearsal dinner, and that was the last time it hit me. I had used to have trouble eating in front of other people that I didn't know, and I didn't think anybody would notice. I'm just not eating, except for her husband to be did notice. And why aren't you eating? And I felt terrible because that event was not about me; it was about them. And yet I couldn't bring myself to eat in front of these people I didn't know, and that hasn't happened in a really long time. And I feel like I'm mostly past it, but it absolutely impacted my life in the most major kind of way. In 1997, I decided that I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, but I had also been bit by the pageant bug by this time. And I I scheduled my very first bodybuilding show on the week following a pageant. Well, if you have half a brain, you know that a bodybuilder doesn't look like a pageant girl. And it was really hard for me to be on the pageant stage because I'm a very big person and most of the pageant girls are very tiny. So even at my very narrow, very smallest, I always looked huge. And I remember getting to the pageant and finding out that my room was on next to the stairwell. And so when we weren't doing pageant things, I was in the stairwell running stairs so that I could look good for my bodybuilding show. The bodybuilding show was amazing. I thought about it for so long. I remember I'm going to wear a red posing suit and it's going to be amazing. It was so cool. Like I didn't even compete in the masters division, which I could have done at that time because I thought I'm gonna stack up with everybody, and I didn't. I wasn't on body. I wasn't on drugs. I was just a standard. Here I'm going to do my best kind of bodybuilding show thing, and so there was no way I was going to win. But it didn't even matter because when you're doing the compulsory poses up there and everybody's doing it at the same time, it it's great because everybody in the audience is just going crazy. And you don't know that they're not cheering for you. You just feel like they're cheering for you too, and it was so awesome. And my routine that I did by myself, I did it to "Eyes Without a Face" by Billy Idol, and it was the coolest minute ever. It was so awesome. And I didn't win. I came in last probably. But it was still really great. But I remember that day, even before that day, we would be working out and I would tell my trainer, my legs feel empty. He goes, I don't know what that means. And I said, I don't know how to explain it. And my legs feel empty. And I had pretty much taken my calories down to, I was trying to eat 800 calories a day before the bodybuilding show. We had gotten a treadmill, and I did the treadmill for 2 hours a day. And then I thought that 800 was really a lot of calories. Maybe we should just do 500. And on the day of the bodybuilding show, he said, you need to eat this bread. He like shoves the bread basket at me. And I was like, oh my God, not bread. We can't have bread, right? He said, you have to fill your muscles up because otherwise you won't look good on stage. And it was just freaking me completely out. And then after that, even though it was a really great experience and I loved it so much, being on that stage, um, I started gaining weight tremendously fast. And I would get up and I would run 5 miles a day every morning before I got my kids up for school. And I was so exhausted, tired, and I hurt and I ached. And when they were at school, I would go back to bed because I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel good. I It was the early times of the internet at that time, and I used everything inside of me every time I had enough energy to get up and go to the computer and try and figure out what have I done to myself because I did not feel good. And I went to doctors to see what I'd done to myself. Can you tell me what's wrong with me? And they would, doctor after doctor, oh, you're fine, you're fine. But I wasn't fine. I knew I wasn't fine. I was freezing. I would go to the baseball games in Florida. My son played baseball, and I would be in June in Florida wearing a winter coat and mittens, and they laughed at me. But I was so cold, and I couldn't stay awake. It was terrible. And so I kept searching and kept searching for somebody to please find out what's wrong with me. And I think I know what it is, but you need to do this test. And it was a free T3 test. And the doctors would say, oh, we don't do that test. Yeah, but you need to. I need this test. They wouldn't listen to me. So finally, I found Dr. Wall and I told Dr. Wall, I need you to do this test for me because I believe this is what's wrong with me. And he says, okay, but you're going to have to do some more things too. We'll do that one, but you're going to have to do some other things. Okay, fine. So the other things were I had to take IV vitamins because he says we need to get nutrition to your cells as fast as possible because my body temperature was like 56 degrees. And I was right about the free T3 test. I was way low. That basically tells you if your mitochondria are working. The mitochondria are the energy cells in your body. And without them, you're me. Okay. I am achy. I'm tired. I can't do anything. I'm gaining weight like crazy. I gained like 100 pounds in 3 months. And so we started supplementing with T3 that I got from a compounding pharmacy, which I knew nothing about at the time. And I remember 3 days after taking it, I looked out the window and wow, the grass looked greener and the sky looked bluer. And it probably took 6 weeks though for me to really feel better, And I think that I came extremely close to death. And that's why I so and want to encourage everybody here, and I'm sorry, um, to choose vitality, to, you know, um, take care of yourself as you age. I'm here for a reason, and I think that's why um, it's hard. It's hard to talk about this, and I just feel so strongly about this, and I want to tell you that it's not so important to be skinny. I wanted to be skinny my whole life, and I was at times. I did Mrs. International pageant, and I went there at 183 pounds, and at 183 pounds, I am like so skinny. I don't even look good, I don't think. But in order to try to compete with little size 00 girls, that's how I felt I had to do. And I I was 56 when I did that. I'm When I went through menopause, it was late. It was like 58. I like to think it's because I'm healthy now. I'm so healthy that it pushed that off. And then I started gaining weight in my midsection, and I never carried weight there before, and it kind of flipped me out some. I don't know what to do about this. It's different, and I'm trying so hard not to um, be let that sort of thing wig me out anymore, because it's so much more important to be healthy and strong than it is to be skinny. I have a stepmom whom I love very much, and she's also tall, and she always counts calories. I mean, even to this day, she says, I'm gaining some weight, I'm gonna have to start counting calories again. I can't imagine living like that. The it wasn't good for her. She broke her back doing yoga, and she now has uh, the I've fallen and I can't get up button. And one of the things that she wanted her PTs to teach her was how to get back up off of the floor, and they weren't able to teach her that. So now she's reliant on that button and the fire department if she falls. All these things are happening right in front of my face, and I thank God that I didn't die. And I'm here to sit here and tell you that strong is better than skinny. I went from um, running and stuff like that to doing powerlifting. And I love powerlifting. Like, it's so great to be strong, to be in a gym and you got people helping you. I can't do, I don't have that here. We're very rural, so we don't even go to the gym. We have everything here, but to have a group of people around you to help you do that stuff that, you need a little extra spotting on so you don't break yourself. It was great. I loved it. It was the best team feeling, and I loved them. And someday I still hope to compete in a bodybuilding show, or not a bodybuilding, powerlifting. I'm done with bodybuilding. Powerlifting show, because I like being strong. I like being strong. I like to blow people away and say, "Hey, I'm 65. Watch me lift this. Watch me do this." I mean, I do that with a lot of things, but being strong is so important. And I just want to encourage you to choose strong instead of skinny. Eat whole food, good food, nutritious food. You have to feed yourself and take care of yourself, and eat things that make sense, that nourish your body, so that you can be strong, so that you can live a long time, and you can be healthy and happy and achy free, while you do it. Um, all of the things that I believe I am doing here with this channel is to encourage you to not end up like me back then. Um, so I don't want to be thin. I want to be strong. I want to have strong bones. I don't want to hear the doctor say, "Oh, you have osteoporosis." I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to avoid that. I want to run endurance races. I know that after I do a 50K, I'm going to do 100 miles. It's It's right here. I'm going to do that. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but I'm going to do that. And I can't do all that stuff if I'm not fit, if I'm not healthy, if I'm not strong. So, am I bigger than I used to be? Yes. Do I like it? Not particularly. But am I strong? Yes. Am I fit and happy and healthy? Yes, yes, yes. And that to me is everything. It's everything that I need right now to go into to keep going in the direction of, aging and longevity and health span, because I don't need a lifespan that is not healthy. We need to have a good health span, and that is what I'm working for. Can I still carry a 50-pound bag of dog food? Yes, I can. Do I run the stairs? Yes, I do. Because I'm not going to sit here and think that I'm old now. I have to sit there and do nothing. I can't do that. I want to thrive as I hate that word, but it really is. I want to thrive as I age. I want to be an example for others to see that just because you're 65 doesn't mean you got to go granny style, uh, I want to do these things that take strength. And I feel like I broke my ankle when I was training for a powerlifting competition. So that's still out there on my list someday. It's like, I'm going to have to do that, because I haven't done it yet. And I really, really want to. I, I just know that strength is everything. I'm starting to work on hanging because grip strength is important, like, opening things, but your grip strength is apparently can predict how long you're going to live. So I have a pull-up bar, and I'm working on that now. And honest to goodness, someday I would love to be able to do a pull-up. Here I am, 65 years old. I have never been able to do a pull-up. I did try one time at the gym with the big fat band, because I'm just not, my upper body's never been as strong as my lower body. And in the end, I think that's probably okay, because it's your lower body that gets you around. It's your lower body that's going to stop you from aging well. If you can't get up, if you have to stay in the chair, if you need help getting to the bathroom, all that stuff is all in your lower body. And I'm thankful for mine to be strong and large. Yep, large. It doesn't bother me like it used to. I do know that sometimes I look at pictures and I look at the videos of me and I think, I don't want you guys to see me like that, but this is who I am. And it's taken me a very long time to get to a point where I'm okay with the way I look, and not to be completely flipped out by having some extra pounds, because I know that I'm healthy and I know that I'm strong. That's peace. It's peace to not have to worry about that all the time, to not have to be somebody else's idea of beautiful, but to be healthy and fit and my idea of beautiful, which is strong. I have felt like I need to say this because I think that too many women get too caught up in being skinny. And my stepmom, I love her. She was 80 years old. She's older now, but when she had a birthday cake, and she said to me, she goes, I just realized that I can have a piece of cake for breakfast. She's 80 years old. I mean, hello, she's been an adult for a long time. Yes, is it a good thing to have cake for breakfast? No, but if it's your 80th birthday, can you have a piece of cake? Yes, have a piece of cake for breakfast. You just, I just can't. When I think of all the time that I spent obsessing about food and weight and all of that, it makes me sad. I missed opportunities to do other better things. But no, I was too caught up, and I still have moments where I think that it's time to go on a diet. Yep, got to go on a diet. I can't do this. But you know what? I always come back to the fact that I'm past that. Past that. just keep eating well, keep exercising. I feel great. Um, you know, I did 3 hours today on the trail, and it was muddy. It was so muddy. And that took a lot, I was most concerned about slipping and falling and breaking something. So I was careful, very careful, very intentional. And I think that if I weren't strong, I mean, that stuff, I might not have been able to do it. I did call a halt at the creek. The creek was big and fast today. And I looked at that and I thought, I can't get across where I went last week. I can't even see the rocks. Like I went over on the rocks. Um, I couldn't see any way across today. And so finally I decided that was stupid stuff that I was not going to do. And I'll do it again next week. But I mean, I feel good. Like I come home and my knees don't hurt and I don't feel like wasted, like I can't do anything for the rest of the day. I feel great. And so this is what the trade off is: freedom, peace, joy, not obsession with weight and being unhappy because I'm not at some certain number that the scale dictates. It's amazing. God is good. I can't believe that I made it through that time in my life, and I've always felt that it was something that He had me to do. And I think it's this channel and telling you all to choose a life of vitality. Remember Psalm 92:14 tells us that we shall still bear fruit in old age. We shall be fresh and flourishing. And dude, you need to be fresh and flourishing. And the way you do that is by building up your muscles. So I guess that's all I have today. I don't want to preach. I just wanted to tell you this. I wanted to get it off my chest. I've been thinking about it like nonstop when I've been out on the trail. Is it's because it's hard to talk about, and I apologize for my emotions. But I do hope that y'all can see how important it is to just feed yourself well, care for yourself, love yourself. Yeah. because that's what we need to do. And we will age well, and people will look at us and say, I want to be like her. Thanks for spending time with me today. If this encouraged you, give it a thumbs up and share it with another aging rebel who needs a little hope. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, live strong, laugh often, and shine with purpose.